Hello there and welcome to Calm Mind, where thoughts finally slow down. I'm so grateful you found your way here tonight, especially on this threshold between what was and what will be. Tonight, as we stand on the edge of a new year, we explore something the natural world has always known, something written into the deepest laws of physics and biology. Before anything new can grow, something old must fall away. Not through force, not through shame, not through violent rupture, but through the patient, necessary science of release. If this journey has brought you some peace, understanding, or permission to be gentler with yourself, a like or subscription helps guide others to this peaceful space. Share what brought you here tonight. Your story might be exactly what another restless mind needs to hear. Return whenever you need reminding of these truths. In this moment, there's nothing you need to do except settle in. Let your muscles release their tension. Feel your eyelids becoming pleasantly heavy. Allow your thoughts to slow and soften as we begin this journey together. You may be carrying things from this past year that feel too heavy to bring forward. Disappointments, regrets, things you wish you had done differently, relationships that ended or changed, dreams that didn't manifest the way you hoped, versions of yourself that no longer fit but that you haven't quite been able to set down. All of this is here with you tonight, and that is perfectly natural. That is perfectly human. But what if I told you that letting go is not a failure of will or a weakness of character? What if letting go is actually the most fundamental process in nature, written into everything from the largest galaxies to the smallest cells in your body? What if the universe itself is teaching us, constantly, that release is not the opposite of growth, but the very condition that makes growth possible? For the next 2 hours, we will explore the gentle science of letting go. We will look at how trees release their leaves to survive the winter, how forest fires, though they seem destructive, create the conditions for new life, how your own body is constantly shedding dead cells, pruning unused neural pathways, clearing away what no longer serves. We will discover that you are not failing when you let go. You are participating in one of nature's most essential and universal processes. As you settle into whatever surface holds you, as you allow your body to be supported completely by the bed or floor beneath you, know that there is nothing you need to fix tonight. Nothing you need to resolve or force or push through. Tonight is simply about understanding, about observing how the natural world handles endings, about learning from the patient wisdom of systems that have been practicing the art of release for billions of years. Breathe in gently, drawing air into your lungs, feeling your chest and belly expand. And breathe out slowly, feeling your body soften, feeling something release even in this simple act of exhaling. Every breath is a small practice of letting go. You take in oxygen, your body uses what it needs, and you release carbon dioxide, returning it to the air around you. You have been practicing letting go since your first breath. Your body knows how to do this. Tonight, we honor the endings. We acknowledge what fell apart, what didn't work, what you had to release whether you wanted to or not. And we do this not to dwell in sadness or regret, but to understand that endings are not failures. They are transformations. They are the necessary first step in every cycle of renewal. The forest that burns grows back richer. The tree that drops its leaves survives to bloom again. And you, having released what you carried this year, will have space for something new to emerge. There is a law in physics called the second law of thermodynamics. It states that in any closed system, entropy, which is a measure of disorder, of things falling apart, always increases over time. This is not a flaw in the universe. This is a feature. Things fall apart so that they can be rearranged, recombined, transformed into something else. The atoms that once formed a fallen leaf will become soil, will become nutrients, will become part of a new plant, a new tree, a new expression of life. Nothing is ever truly lost. Everything is transformed. And tonight, as you rest here on the boundary between years, you can trust that whatever you are releasing, whatever fell apart, whatever ended, whatever you are choosing to leave behind, is not disappearing into nothingness. It is being transformed. It is becoming the compost from which your new growth will emerge. You do not need to see how this works. You do not need to understand the full process. You only need to trust that nature has been doing this successfully for longer than humans have existed, and it knows what it's doing. So settle deeper now. Feel the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. Feel your shoulders dropping away from your ears. Feel your jaw unclenching, your forehead smoothing, your hands opening and releasing whatever they were symbolically holding. You are safe here. You are held. And tonight, we will learn together how to let go the way nature lets go, not through violence or shame, but through patient, necessary, transformative release. Before anything new can grow, something old must fall away. This is not a rule invented by humans. This is a law of the universe, written into the fabric of reality itself. And tonight, you can rest in that law, can allow it to hold you, can trust that your own process of letting go is not a personal failure but a participation in something ancient, universal, and deeply wise. Imagine for a moment that you are a tree. Not any particular species, just a tree in a temperate forest where seasons change, where summer gives way to autumn, where warmth gradually yields to cold. You have been growing all spring and summer, your leaves capturing sunlight, converting it into energy through photosynthesis, feeding your trunk and roots and branches, building yourself up, growing stronger and taller. But now, as the days grow shorter and the temperature begins to drop, something shifts within you. Your leaves, which have been green and vibrant all summer, begin to change color. The chlorophyll, the green pigment that captures sunlight, begins to break down. As it fades, other pigments that were always there but hidden emerge: yellows, oranges, reds, purples. Your leaves become a final display of beauty, a last burst of color before they fall. But this is not an accident. This is not the tree dying or failing. This is the tree's wisdom, its strategy for survival. As winter approaches, as temperatures drop and water in the ground begins to freeze, those leaves, which were assets during summer, become liabilities. They lose water through tiny pores called stomata. In winter, when water is scarce and frozen, this loss would be dangerous, potentially fatal. So the tree prepares to release them. At the base of each leaf stem, where it connects to the branch, a special layer of cells begins to form. This is called the abscission layer. These cells gradually separate the leaf from the branch, cutting off the flow of nutrients and water. It is a deliberate, controlled separation, like a surgical cut, clean and purposeful. The tree is not ripping the leaf away in panic. It is carefully, methodically letting it go. And then, when the time is right, perhaps after a cold night, perhaps after a strong wind, the leaf falls. It drifts down from the branch, spiraling slowly through the air, landing softly on the forest floor. And the tree stands bare, exposed to the cold, its branches naked against the winter sky. From the outside, this might look like loss, like diminishment. But from the tree's perspective, this is preparation. This is wisdom. This is survival. Without its leaves, the tree can endure the winter. It requires less water and nutrients when it is dormant. It is less vulnerable to damage from heavy snow or ice that would weigh down leafy branches and break them. The tree has let go of what it needed in summer to survive the winter. And in spring, when warmth returns and water flows again, it will grow new leaves, greener and more vibrant than before. The letting go was not permanent loss. It was temporary release to enable future growth. Breathe slowly as you picture this process, as you imagine being that tree. Feel into the wisdom of knowing when to hold on and when to let go. The tree does not judge itself for losing its leaves. It does not feel shame or failure. It simply responds to changing conditions, releasing what is no longer sustainable, trusting that this release will allow it to survive and eventually thrive again. Now consider what you might be holding on to that is like those leaves in autumn. Beautiful once, necessary once, but no longer suited to your current season. Perhaps it is a version of yourself that fit in the past but no longer matches who you are becoming. Perhaps it is a belief about what you should do or should be, inherited from others but never truly yours. Perhaps it is a relationship or job or identity that you have outgrown but haven't yet released because letting go feels like failure. But what if, like the tree, letting go is not failure but wisdom? What if the things you are releasing are simply not suited to the season you are entering? What if holding on to them would cost you too much energy, too much of your finite resources, too much of your capacity to survive and eventually flourish? The tree teaches us that there is no shame in this release. There is only practical wisdom, only the recognition that everything has its season, and when that season ends, the healthy response is to let go. The leaves that fall to the forest floor do not disappear. They become part of the soil, breaking down over months and years, releasing nutrients that feed the tree's roots, that nourish other plants, that support the entire ecosystem. The tree literally feeds on its own fallen leaves, recycled through the work of fungi and bacteria and earthworms, transformed from leaf to soil to nutrient to new growth. Nothing is wasted. Everything is transformed. And the same is true for what you release. The experiences you are letting go of, even the painful ones, even the ones that didn't work out the way you hoped, are not wasted. They taught you something. They shaped you in ways you may not yet fully understand. They are becoming part of your foundation, part of the soil from which your next chapter will grow. You cannot see this transformation happening in real time, just as you cannot see leaves decomposing if you watch them for only a few minutes. But it is happening nonetheless, slowly, patiently, inevitably. The tree does not rush this process. It does not force its leaves off in summer because it is impatient for winter to end. It waits for the right time, responds to the signals of shortening days and cooling temperatures, and then releases when conditions are appropriate. There is patience in this. There is trust in timing. The tree has faith that spring will come again, even though it cannot see spring from the middle of autumn. It simply does what needs to be done now and trusts the cycle. You, too, can trust the cycle. You can trust that letting go in this season does not mean you will never grow or bloom again. It means you are preparing for what comes next, even if you cannot yet see what that is. The tree standing bare in winter does not look like it is preparing to explode with green life in just a few months, but it is. Beneath the surface, in the roots and the dormant buds, preparations are being made. The appearance of loss is actually the foundation of future abundance. Consider the specific things you are carrying from this past year that feel heavy, burdensome, no longer aligned with who you are becoming. You do not need to name them all right now. You do not need to make a list or analyze them. Just notice what arises when you ask yourself, what am I holding on to that belongs to a previous season? What have I outgrown? What is draining my energy not because it is bad but simply because it is no longer appropriate for this time in my life? And as you notice these things, imagine them as leaves on your personal tree. Imagine that at the base of each one, an abscission layer is forming, a natural, healthy boundary between what you are and what you are releasing. The separation is not violent. It is not shameful. It is careful and deliberate and kind. You are not abandoning these parts of yourself. You are acknowledging that they served a purpose once and that purpose is complete. You are honoring them by letting them go rather than forcing them to remain past their season. The leaves fall when they are ready, when conditions are right, when the tree has completed its internal preparations. You, too, will let go when you are ready. Perhaps tonight is part of that preparation. Perhaps just understanding how trees let go, how natural and necessary this process is helping you prepare for your own release. There is no rush. There is no deadline. Even the calendar turning to a new year is just a human convention, not a natural law. You release when you release, and that timing is perfect because it is yours. But know this, the capacity to let go is already within you. It is written into your biology, into your neurology, into the very structure of how you exist in time. You have already let go of so many things in your life, even if you didn't consciously notice. You let go of childhood. You let go of old friendships that faded. You let go of previous versions of yourself as you learned and changed and grew. Letting go is not something you need to learn from scratch. It is something you need to remember, to trust, to allow. As you continue to breathe, as your body grows heavier and more relaxed, picture yourself as that tree again. Feel your roots going deep into the earth, anchoring you, connecting you to something solid and nourishing. Feel your trunk strong and stable, able to withstand wind and weather. And feel your branches, bare now perhaps, exposed, vulnerable looking but actually perfectly prepared for what comes next. You are not diminished by what you have released. You are prepared. You are ready. You are exactly as you should be in this moment, in this season. The tree does not apologize for its bare branches in winter. It does not compare itself to evergreens and feel inadequate. It simply is what it is, doing what is appropriate for its species and its season. You, too, can stop apologizing for what you have had to let go of, for what did not work out, for the ways you are different now than you were a year ago. This is your season. This is your process. This is your wisdom expressing itself in the choices you make about what to hold and what to release. And when spring comes, and it will come as surely as seasons turn, you will grow new leaves. Not the same leaves you released, but new ones, suited to the new season, to who you are becoming rather than who you were. The tree does not regret the loss of last year's leaves. It celebrates the growth of this year's leaves. Each season brings its own gifts, its own appropriate expressions of life. Let go of trying to bring last year's leaves into this new year. Trust that you will grow what you need when you need it. Now we turn to something that seems, at first, like pure destruction: wildfire. A forest fire is terrifying to witness. Flames consuming trees that took decades to grow, smoke filling the air, animals fleeing, everything blackened and charred in the fire's wake. From a human perspective, fire in a forest looks like catastrophe, like irreversible loss, like an ending with no redemption. But ecologists who study forests have learned something remarkable. Many forests actually need fire to remain healthy. Without occasional fires, these ecosystems become choked with undergrowth, dead wood, and accumulated debris. The canopy becomes so thick that sunlight cannot reach the forest floor, preventing new growth. Nutrients get locked up in dead material rather than cycling back into the soil. The forest becomes stagnant, vulnerable to disease and pests, paradoxically more likely to experience a truly catastrophic fire because of all the built-up fuel. Controlled fires, or natural fires that are allowed to burn in appropriate conditions, clear out this accumulated material. They burn away the dead wood and dense undergrowth, reducing fuel for future fires. The heat releases nutrients from plant material back into the soil in forms that other plants can use. Smoke and ash enrich the earth with minerals. And perhaps most importantly, fire creates openings in the canopy, allowing sunlight to reach the forest floor, enabling seeds that have been waiting, sometimes for decades, to finally germinate and grow. Some species of trees have actually evolved to depend on fire. The lodgepole pine, for example, produces serotinous cones that are sealed shut with resin and will not open to release their seeds unless exposed to the intense heat of a fire. These cones can remain closed on the tree for years, waiting. And then, when fire comes through, the heat melts the resin, the cones open, and thousands of seeds are released into the newly cleared, nutrient-rich soil. Within weeks of a fire, you can see tiny green shoots emerging from the blackened ground. The fire did not end the forest. It renewed it. Breathe deeply as you consider what this might mean for your own life, for the things that have felt like fires, experiences that burn through your world, destroying what you thought was permanent, leaving you in a landscape that looked devastated and beyond recovery. Perhaps a relationship ended suddenly. Perhaps you lost a job you thought defined you. Perhaps a dream you had been holding on to for years became impossible. Perhaps some version of who you thought you were burned away, and you were left standing in the ashes, unsure of what comes next. These experiences feel catastrophic when you are in them. They feel like pure loss, like destruction without purpose. But what if, like the forest, you were being cleared of what was actually preventing new growth? What if the things that burned away, painful as their loss was, were blocking sunlight from reaching seeds that have been waiting within you for the right conditions to grow? What if this ending is actually creating space for a beginning you could not have imagined while you were still living in the dense forest of your old life? This is not to say that the fire doesn't hurt. It does. The loss is real. The grief is legitimate. A forest after a fire looks devastated, and it takes time for the renewal to become visible. You do not need to rush to the positive reframe. Do not need to pretend that what burned did not matter. It mattered. It was your forest. And now it is changed. And you must live in this changed landscape whether you are ready or not. But you can also trust, as the forest ecosystem trusts, that renewal will come. Not immediately, not without patience, but inevitably. The seeds are there. The nutrients are there. The conditions for new growth are being created even in what looks like devastation. You cannot force this process. You cannot make the seeds sprout faster than they are ready to sprout. But you can trust that the fire, painful as it was, has done some of the work of clearing, of preparing, of making space. Scientists have studied forests that were burned decades ago and found that they often become more biodiverse than they were before the fire. The opening of the canopy allows species that need more light to establish themselves. The cleared ground provides habitat for different animals. The mosaic of burned and unburned areas creates more varied microenvironments, supporting more different kinds of life. The forest that regrows is not exactly the same as what was there before, but it is rich, complex, full of life that could not have existed without the fire. You, too, may find that what grows from your own ashes is not exactly what you expected or what you thought you wanted. It may be different. You may be different. The life you build after loss is not a replica of the life you had before, but it can be rich. It can be full. It can be more suited to who you actually are rather than who you thought you should be. Sometimes we hold on to structures, relationships, jobs, identities, ways of being, because they are familiar, not because they truly serve us. And sometimes it takes a fire to clear those structures away so we can discover what else might grow. The forest does not choose fire. It does not invite destruction. But when fire comes, the forest's response is not to give up, not to declare itself permanently damaged, not to refuse to allow new growth because the old growth was lost. The forest simply begins again. Seeds germinate. Shoots emerge. Roots spread. Life reasserts itself with patient insistence, not denying the reality of the fire but also not allowing the fire to be the final word. What seeds might be within you that have been waiting for the right conditions? What dreams or desires or ways of being were blocked by the structures of your old life and are now possible in your new openness? You may not know yet. The seeds in the forest floor don't know they are seeds until conditions trigger their germination. But they are there. They have always been there. And the fire, painful as it was, may have created exactly the conditions they needed. There is another aspect of forest fires worth understanding. Fire moves. It does not burn the entire forest uniformly. It burns hot in some areas and cooler in others. It leaves some trees standing while reducing others to ash. It creates a patchwork, a mosaic of different levels of impact. And this patchwork is actually healthier for the ecosystem than uniform burning or no burning at all. The variety of conditions supports the variety of life. Your own fires have probably been like this too, burning some areas of your life intensely while leaving others relatively intact. You are not completely destroyed, even if it sometimes feels that way. There are parts of you that survived, that remain, that provide continuity and stability even as other parts were transformed. Maybe your career burned, but your friendships remained. Maybe a relationship ended, but your sense of self grew stronger. Maybe you lost something external, but found something internal. The patchwork is not weakness. It is the natural pattern of loss and survival, woven together. As you breathe, as your body continues to soften and release, imagine yourself as that forest after fire. Yes, there is charring. Yes, there is loss visible everywhere you look. But beneath the surface, in the soil enriched by ash, in the seeds waiting for their moment, in the roots that survived underground, there is potential. There is readiness. There is the promise of green shoots that will emerge when the time is right. You do not need to see them yet. You only need to trust that they will come. Indigenous peoples who lived in fire-adapted forests understood this cycle. They sometimes deliberately set controlled fires, knowing that these small, manageable fires prevented the buildup of fuel that would lead to catastrophic fires later. They worked with fire rather than against it, recognizing it as a natural and necessary part of the ecosystem. This is ancient wisdom, that some destruction is necessary, that trying to prevent all loss often leads to worse loss later, that working with the cycles of nature is wiser than trying to stop them. They are not punishments. They are not evidence that you did something wrong or that the universe is against you. They are simply part of the cycle, part of the process by which life renews itself, by which stagnation is prevented, by which space is cleared for new growth. The forest does not moralize about fire. It does not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" It simply responds, adapts, regrows. There is a kind of dignity in that, a kind of grace in accepting what is and working with it rather than against it. As this year ends and a new one begins, you may be standing in the ashes of fires that burned through your life. You may be looking around at what was lost, at the landscape changed beyond recognition, at the impossibility of going back to how things were. And all of that is valid. All of that deserves acknowledgement. But you can also begin to look for the green shoots. Not to minimize the loss. Not to pretend the fire didn't hurt. But to remember that you are not just what burned. You are also what survives, what adapts, what grows back. The forest after fire is a testament to resilience, but not the kind of resilience that means bouncing back to exactly how you were before. It is the resilience of transformation, of becoming something new, of allowing loss to reshape you rather than destroy you. The new forest is not inferior to the old forest. It is simply different, and in its difference, it holds possibilities that did not exist before. You, too, hold possibilities now that did not exist before your fires. They were born from the burning. They are part of what the flames left behind. We turn now to something more abstract but equally fundamental, the second law of thermodynamics. This is one of the most important laws in all of physics, and it states something that sounds almost philosophical. In any closed system, entropy always increases over time. Entropy is often described as disorder, as randomness, as things falling apart. And the second law says that this is not an accident or a flaw, it is inevitable, universal, built into the fabric of reality itself. Imagine a cup of hot coffee sitting on a table. The coffee is hot. The room is cooler. Over time, the coffee will cool down, losing heat to the surrounding air until coffee and room reach the same temperature. The heat energy spreads out, diffuses, becomes more evenly distributed. This is entropy increasing. The organized, concentrated heat energy in the coffee becomes dispersed, less organized, more spread out. And crucially, this process does not reverse on its own. The coffee does not spontaneously become hot again by gathering heat from the room. Time flows in one direction, and entropy increases along that flow. Or imagine a sandcastle on a beach. You build it carefully, organizing grains of sand into walls and towers, creating structure and form. It is a localized decrease in entropy. You have taken scattered sand and organized it. But leave that sandcastle for a few hours. And what happens? Wind and waves gradually wear it down. The walls crumble. The towers collapse. The sand disperses back across the beach. Entropy increases. The organized structure falls apart, and the universe does not spontaneously rebuild it. This might sound depressing, the idea that everything falls apart, that disorder always wins, that entropy is always increasing. But the second law is not a tragedy. It is simply a description of how energy and matter behave in time. And more importantly, it is the very thing that makes life possible, that makes change possible, that makes new forms emerge from old ones. Without entropy, without things falling apart, there would be no transformation, no cycle, no renewal. Everything would be frozen in place, static, unchanging. Entropy is not the enemy of order. It is the engine that drives transformation. Consider your own life through the lens of entropy. Relationships that once felt solid and permanent gradually change, shift, sometimes dissolve. The intense connection you had with someone fades over months or years as you both change, as circumstances shift, as the concentrated energy between you disperses. Jobs that once defined you lose their meaning or end entirely. Your body, which felt strong and unchanging in youth, gradually shows signs of wear and aging. Certainties become doubts. Plans fall apart. The future you envisioned turns out differently than you imagined. All of this is entropy at work, not in the coffee cup but in the complex systems of your life. And it is not personal. It is not punishment. It is not evidence that you did something wrong or that you are failing. It is simply what happens in time, in a universe governed by the second law. Things fall apart because that is what things do. Energy disperses. Order becomes disorder. Concentrations spread out. This is as natural as gravity, as inevitable as sunrise. But here is the crucial insight. Local decreases in entropy are possible. Yes, overall entropy in the universe is always increasing. But in specific places, for specific times, you can create order from disorder. You can build sandcastles. You can form relationships. You can make plans and achieve goals. You can organize your life into something meaningful and structured. You can do this by adding energy, by doing work, by investing effort and attention and care. The sandcastle on the beach is a perfect example. You decrease entropy locally by organizing sand, but you increase it elsewhere, in your body, as you burn calories and produce heat, as you breathe and metabolize and sweat. The overall entropy of the universe still increases, even as you create this small pocket of order. And eventually, inevitably, the order you created will disperse. The sandcastle will crumble. But for a time, for the time you invested energy in maintaining it, it existed. It was real. It mattered. Your life is like this. The structures you build, relationships, careers, homes, identities, plans, are local decreases in entropy, maintained by your constant input of energy and attention. And they will not last forever. They cannot last forever, because you cannot maintain them indefinitely. Eventually, your energy will be needed elsewhere, or circumstances will change in ways you cannot control, or time will simply wear them down. And they will fall apart, dissolve, return to something less organized. This is not failure. This is physics. Breathe into this understanding. Feel the relief that can come from recognizing that you are not responsible for maintaining perfect order in your life forever. You are not failing when things fall apart. You are simply living in a universe where entropy increases, where change is constant, where nothing stays frozen in its current form. The illusion that you can or should maintain perfect stability, perfect control, perfect order is what causes suffering, not the entropy itself. When a relationship ends, entropy is increasing in that particular system. The concentrated energy and attention that you both invested in connecting is dispersing. This does not mean the relationship never mattered. It means its time as an organized system has passed. The love you shared, the experiences you had, the ways you changed each other, all of that still exists, but dispersed now, part of who each of you has become rather than concentrated in the relationship itself. Nothing was destroyed. It was transformed, redistributed, integrated into your larger lives. When a career ends or a dream becomes impossible, you are witnessing entropy in action. The energy you invested, the structure you built, is dissipating. It feels like loss because it is loss of that particular form, that particular organization. But the skills you gained, the knowledge you acquired, the person you became through that work, all of that persists, integrated into you, available to be reorganized into new forms, new projects, new expressions of who you are. The second law teaches us something profound about time and change. You cannot go backward. You cannot return to how things were. Entropy has increased. The system has changed. The coffee will not spontaneously become hot again. The sandcastle will not rebuild itself. The relationship or job or life phase that ended cannot be resurrected in its original form. And trying to go back, trying to resist the forward flow of time, trying to decrease entropy without adding new energy, is futile. It causes suffering without changing the outcome. But you can build new things. You can create new pockets of order, new structures, new relationships and projects and expressions of yourself. This requires energy, requires effort, requires accepting that you are building something new rather than restoring something old. The new sandcastle will not be identical to the one that crumbled. It cannot be. Too much time has passed. Too much has changed. But it can be a sandcastle nonetheless, can be beautiful in its own right, can matter for its own reasons. As you lie here in the darkness, feeling your body heavy and relaxed, consider what you might be trying to restore rather than rebuild. What are you trying to return to rather than move forward from? What are you resisting letting fully disperse so that your energy can be free to create something new? Entropy is not your enemy. It is not opposing you. It is simply the way the universe works, the direction time flows, the process by which all things change and become something else. There is something almost comforting in this, if you can sit with it long enough. You are not personally responsible for preventing entropy. You cannot stop it, cannot control it, cannot keep everything from falling apart. You can only choose where to invest your limited energy, what local pockets of order you want to create and maintain for as long as you can or want to. The universe is on the side of transformation, not stasis. It is on the side of flow, not permanence. And you, as part of this universe, are subject to the same laws. Your attempts to hold everything in place, to prevent change, to maintain perfect order indefinitely, are as futile as trying to keep a cup of coffee hot forever without adding heat. It will cool. The sandcastle will crumble. The structures will disperse. And this is not because you are weak or insufficient. It is because this is how time works. So tonight, on this threshold between years, you can practice letting go of the impossible task of preventing entropy. You can stop fighting against the nature of time itself. You can acknowledge what has fallen apart, What has increased in entropy? What has dispersed? What has ended? And you can trust that this dispersal is not random chaos but transformation. The energy that was concentrated in one form is now available to be organized into another form. The question is not how to prevent change, but what you want to build next, where you want to invest your energy now that it is no longer tied up in maintaining what was. The second law of thermodynamics does not say that order is impossible. It says that order is temporary, local, maintained only by the continual input of energy. And perhaps that is a better way to think about your life, not as a permanent structure that should never change, but as a dynamic process that requires your energy and attention, that will exist in its current form only as long as you actively maintain it, and that will inevitably transform when your energy is needed elsewhere or when circumstances change beyond your control. This does not make your efforts meaningless. The sandcastle mattered while it stood. The relationship mattered while it flourished. The career mattered during the years you devoted to it. Their eventual dissolution does not retroactively erase their significance. The coffee being hot mattered to the person who wanted a hot drink. That it eventually cooled does not mean the hotness was an illusion or a failure. It was real, for the time it lasted. And then it changed, as all things change. As you drift deeper into relaxation, into the space between waking and sleeping, let this understanding sink into your bones. You are not fighting against entropy. You are participating in it, dancing with it, learning when to build and when to let disperse, when to invest energy in maintaining and when to release what can no longer be sustained. This is wisdom, not weakness. This is working with the universe rather than against it. This is accepting the fundamental nature of time and using that acceptance to guide your choices about where to place your precious, finite energy. Now we turn to something even more intimate, more immediate, more directly connected to your experience in this moment. Your own body. Right now, as you lie here breathing, your body is engaged in countless acts of letting go. You are not a static object. You are a process, a flow, a system in constant transformation. And letting go is not something you need to learn to do. It is something your body is already doing, has always been doing every moment of your life. Start with your skin, the boundary between your interior and the world. Your skin looks solid, permanent, like a stable border that defines where you end and everything else begins. But in reality, your skin is constantly being replaced, constantly shedding itself and regenerating. The outermost layer of your skin, the stratum corneum, is made up of dead cells that serve as a protective barrier. Every day, you shed approximately 30,000 to 40,000 of these dead skin cells. Every minute, you lose about 30,000. These cells flake off, fall away, become dust in your environment. You are literally leaving pieces of yourself behind everywhere you go, constantly, invisibly. And underneath those dead cells, new cells are being born, migrating upward through the layers of your epidermis, eventually reaching the surface themselves, dying, serving their protective function, and then being shed in turn. The entire outer layer of your skin is replaced roughly every 28 to 30 days. You wear a completely new skin once a month, and you are not even aware of it happening. This is profound when you really consider it. Your body knows how to let go at the cellular level. It does not cling to dead cells that have served their purpose. It does not try to maintain them indefinitely. It releases them when their time is done and grows new ones to replace them. There is no grief, no resistance, no attempt to hold on to what is no longer living and functional. There is only release and renewal, constant and automatic, requiring no conscious effort from you. But your skin is just the beginning. Your red blood cells, which carry oxygen through your bloodstream, live for about 120 days. Then they age, become less flexible, less efficient, and they are recognized by your spleen as old and ready for recycling. Your spleen breaks them down, salvages the iron for making new red blood cells, and releases other components to be processed and eliminated. Your body is making about 2 million new red blood cells every second to replace the ones that are constantly being removed. 2 million per second. That is how committed your body is to the process of renewal through release. Your stomach lining replaces itself every few days, constantly sloughing off cells that have been damaged by the harsh acidic environment needed for digestion. Your taste buds are replaced every 10 to 14 days. The cells lining your small intestine are replaced every few days. Even your bones, which feel so solid and permanent, are constantly being remodeled, broken down by cells called osteoclasts and rebuilt by cells called osteoblasts, a process that allows your skeleton to adapt to changing stresses and repair microdamage. Some scientists estimate that most of the cells in your body are replaced within 7 to 10 years. There are exceptions. Neurons in your brain and heart muscle cells that last a lifetime, but the vast majority of your cellular material is not permanent. You are not the same physical object you were 10 years ago. Almost every atom in your body has been replaced, exchanged with the environment through eating and drinking and breathing, through waste elimination and skin shedding and hair growth and nail clipping. So what are you, really? If almost nothing physical about you is permanent, if you are constantly letting go of old material and incorporating new material, what is the continuous thread that makes you you? You are the pattern, the organization, the information. You are the way matter is arranged, not the matter itself. You are more like a whirlpool in a river, a persistent pattern in flowing water, than like a rock, solid and unchanging. Breathe into this understanding. Feel your breath moving in and out, your body taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide, participating in the exchange with the world around you. Every breath is a small letting go. Your body does not cling to the air in your lungs. It uses what it needs and releases the rest, trusts that there will be another breath, another exchange, another opportunity to take in what is needed and let go of what is not. This is the pattern your body has been following since your first breath at birth. Constant intake and release. Constant transformation of matter and energy. Constant letting go of what has served its purpose and incorporation of what is new. Your body has never tried to hold on to everything, to keep every cell that was ever part of you, to maintain perfect stability. It has always understood that life is flow, not stasis. It has always known that letting go is not the opposite of survival, but the very mechanism of survival. And yet, somehow, your conscious mind often tries to do the opposite. It tries to hold on, to maintain, to prevent change, to keep everything stable and predictable and controlled. Your mind fears loss in ways your body does not. Your body releases 30,000 skin cells per minute without anxiety. Your mind can spend hours or years unable to let go of a single relationship or identity or belief. Why this disconnect? Perhaps because your body operates on biological wisdom that evolved over billions of years, while your conscious mind operates on narratives, meanings, stories about yourself that feel threatened by change. Your body knows that you are not diminished by shedding skin cells. You would be harmed if you didn't shed them. But your mind fears that you will be diminished by shedding old identities, old relationships, old ways of being, even when holding on to them is causing harm. What if you could extend your body's wisdom about letting go to your conscious experience? What if you could release old versions of yourself, old stories, old attachments with the same ease and lack of drama with which your body releases dead skin cells? Not because those things don't matter, but because you understand that holding on to what has completed its cycle prevents new growth, prevents renewal, creates stagnation and dysfunction. Your brain itself practices letting go in sophisticated ways. Every night when you sleep, your brain engages in what neuroscientists call synaptic pruning. Throughout the day, as you learn and experience and think and feel, connections between neurons, synapses, are formed and strengthened. But not all of these connections are useful or worth maintaining. Many are random, incidental artifacts of temporary states or experiences that don't need to be permanently encoded. During deep sleep, your brain reviews these connections and prunes away the ones that are weak, unused, or unhelpful. It is literally letting go of neural pathways that are not serving you, clearing away the clutter of unnecessary connections to maintain efficiency and make room for new learning. This is why sleep is so important for memory and learning, not just because it consolidates important information, but because it also releases unimportant information, allowing the signal to stand out from the noise. Your brain understands that you cannot keep everything. There is limited space, limited energy, limited resources. Some things must be let go so that other things can be maintained and new things can be learned. And your brain makes these decisions automatically, without your conscious input, based on what was activated repeatedly, worth keeping, and what was not, can be released. It is a biological meditation on letting go, happening every night while you sleep. Even your immune system practices discernment about what to hold on to and what to release. White blood cells constantly patrol your body, identifying and removing bacteria, viruses, damaged cells, anything that doesn't belong or that has become harmful. They literally let go of the old and damaged by breaking it down and eliminating it. This is not cruelty or waste. It is necessary maintenance, ensuring that your body remains functional by constantly clearing out what has completed its cycle or become problematic. So you see, letting go is not some external skill you need to learn from self-help books or meditation practices. It is already woven into every level of your being. Your body is a master of release, a constant demonstration of how to hold lightly, how to replace what is worn, how to clear away what no longer serves. The question is not whether you are capable of letting go. You are demonstrating that capability millions of times per day at the cellular level. The question is whether you can trust this capability at the level of your conscious experience, your identity, your story about who you are and what you need. As you continue to breathe, as your body continues its work of shedding and renewing, consider what you might be holding on to at the psychological or emotional level that you would never hold on to at the physical level. Would you refuse to shed dead skin cells, insisting they are part of you and must be kept forever? Would you refuse to exhale, trying to hold on to every breath? Would you stop your blood from circulating because you are attached to the particular red blood cells you have right now? Of course not. That would be absurd, dysfunctional, harmful. And yet, you may be doing exactly this with aspects of your psychological life, holding on to old identities that no longer fit, old hurts that have served their purpose of teaching you something, old relationships that have completed their cycle, old beliefs that were useful once but are now limiting. Not because you are foolish or weak, but because consciousness creates the illusion that these things are more permanent, more essential to who you are than they actually are. Your body knows better. Your body knows that you are not any particular configuration of cells, but rather the pattern that persists through constant reconfiguration. You are not the dead skin cells that you shed, but you are also not diminished by their departure. You are not the red blood cells that are broken down in your spleen, but you continue to live and function as new ones are made. You are not any particular memory or belief or relationship, but you also do not cease to exist when those change or end. You are the pattern, the process, the ongoing flow that remains even as everything particular within it is constantly being released and replaced. This is both humbling and liberating. Humbling because it reveals how little control you have, How much of what you think of as you is actually temporary, subject to constant change beneath your awareness? Liberating because it means you can let go without losing yourself, can release without disappearing, can change without ceasing to exist. The core continuity is not in holding on to everything, but in the pattern that persists through constant letting go. Tonight, as this year ends and a new one begins, you can align your conscious choices with your body's wisdom. You can ask yourself, what am I holding on to that my body would simply shed? What am I clinging to that has already completed its purpose and is now just taking up space, preventing new growth? What old skin am I refusing to slough off even though it is dead and a fresh layer is ready underneath? And you can practice releasing with the same ease, the same lack of drama, the same trust in renewal that your body demonstrates. You do not need to make a big production of letting go. You do not need to analyze why it is time or whether you are ready. Your skin cells do not have an existential crisis before they detach and fall away. They simply release when their time is done. You can do the same. When something's time is done, you can let it go. Trust that you will not be diminished. Know that space will be made for what comes next. We come now to one of nature's most profound transformations, the way death becomes life through the process of decomposition. This might seem morbid at first, uncomfortable to contemplate, but it is actually one of the most hopeful processes in nature, the ultimate demonstration that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed, that endings are never final but always transition points on the way to new beginnings. Imagine a compost heap in a garden. Into this heap go kitchen scraps, vegetable peelings, coffee grounds, eggshells, yard waste, dead leaves, grass clippings, small branches, perhaps even paper, cardboard, other organic materials that are no longer serving their original purpose. All of this material is, in a sense, waste. It is what is left over after utility has been extracted. It is what has been discarded, what has ended its first life. But leave that pile of waste for a few weeks or months. Keep it moist and turn it occasionally to introduce oxygen, and something remarkable happens. The pile heats up. Steam rises from it on cold mornings. And gradually, the distinct items, banana peels and dead leaves and coffee grounds, lose their individual forms. They break down, merge together, become something homogeneous and dark and rich. They become compost, humus, black gold for gardeners. They become the material that feeds new growth, that enriches soil, that makes gardens thrive. This transformation is the work of decomposers, bacteria, fungi, worms, insects, who break down the complex organic molecules in the waste into simpler forms. They digest the material, extract energy for their own life processes, and release nutrients in forms that plants can absorb and use. Death becomes food. Endings become beginnings. what was waste becomes nourishment. And this is not a minor side process in nature. This is fundamental. Without decomposers, without the constant breakdown of dead material, life on Earth would have ended long ago. All the nutrients would be locked up in the dead bodies of organisms, unavailable to the living. Nothing would rot, nothing would return to the soil, and eventually there would be no nutrients available for new growth. The living would starve surrounded by the dead. Decomposition is not the opposite of life. It is the enabler of life, the recycler, the transformer that ensures nutrients flow in cycles rather than accumulating uselessly in what has died. Every ecosystem depends on this process. In a forest, when a tree falls, it does not simply lie there forever as a static log. It begins to decompose immediately. Fungi send threads of mycelium into the wood, breaking down cellulose and lignin. Beetles and other insects bore into it, creating channels that allow more decomposers to enter. Rain and snow seep in, carrying bacteria. Slowly, over years or decades, that fallen tree is transformed from solid wood back into soil, releasing carbon and nitrogen and phosphorus and all the other elements that were locked in its structure back into forms that living trees can use. The fallen tree feeds the forest. Its death is not waste, not loss, not the end of the story. It is transformation, contribution, the return of borrowed elements to the pool from which new life will draw. Some of the atoms that were once part of that tree will be incorporated into seedlings growing nearby. That tree will, in a very literal sense, live again, not as itself but as part of other trees, other plants, other lives. Nothing is lost. Everything is transformed. Breathe slowly as you consider what this might mean for what has died in your own life. The relationships that ended. The dreams that became impossible. The versions of yourself that you had to let go of. The year that is now ending, with all its disappointments and losses and things that did not turn out the way you hoped. What if these endings are not waste? What if they are raw material, decomposing in the compost heap of your experience, breaking down into nutrients that will feed what grows next? This does not happen instantly. Compost takes time. You cannot throw vegetable scraps on a pile today and expect finished compost tomorrow. The process cannot be rushed. The decomposers work at their own pace, breaking down complex structures into simpler ones, gradually transforming what was into what will be. And for a while, the compost heap does not look beautiful. It looks messy, chaotic, unfinished. It smells of decay. It is visibly in the middle of falling apart. You may be in this phase right now. The endings have happened, but the transformation is not yet complete. You can see what fell apart, what died, what was lost. But you cannot yet see what will grow from this loss, what nutrients are being released, what new possibilities are being prepared. You are in the compost heap, in the mess, in the uncomfortable space between what was and what will be. And this phase cannot be skipped. You cannot go directly from fresh waste to finished compost. You must go through the breaking down, the heating up, the loss of original form. But you can trust the process. You can trust that decomposition is not random destruction but structured transformation. The decomposers know what they are doing. They have been doing this for hundreds of millions of years, since the first organisms evolved the ability to break down dead material. They are experts at extracting value from what appears to be waste, at finding the nutrients hidden in what has ended, at transforming death into the fuel for new life. In your own life, the decomposers might be time, reflection, therapy, conversation with friends, creative expression, or simply the ongoing process of living and experiencing new things that gradually change your relationship to what was lost. These processes slowly break down the old stories, the old identities, the old meanings into their component parts, allowing you to see what was actually valuable, what can be carried forward, what can feed your next chapter. The relationship that ended taught you things about yourself, about what you need, about patterns you want to change or maintain. These lessons are the nutrients extracted from the compost of that relationship. The job you lost gave you skills, connections, knowledge about what you do and don't want in work. These are what remain after the specific form of that employment has decomposed. The dream that died cleared space, freed energy, perhaps revealed assumptions that were limiting you. This clearing is part of the nutrient release, making room and resources available for dreams that fit who you actually are rather than who you thought you should be. Nothing is wasted in nature's economy. Everything that lives eventually dies, and everything that dies eventually feeds life. The carbon in your body right now has been part of countless other organisms, plants, animals, bacteria, over the billions of years since Earth formed. You are made of recycled material, atoms that have been in the compost heap of death and rebirth more times than could ever be counted. And when you die, those atoms will be released again, will decompose, will be taken up by other organisms, will continue participating in the great cycle. This is not depressing. This is the opposite of waste, the opposite of meaninglessness. It means you are part of something that does not end, that constantly renews itself, that transforms but never truly terminates. The specific form called you will end eventually, but the matter and energy that currently make up that form will continue, will be transformed, will become part of other forms. Death is not an exit from the cycle. It is a transition within the cycle, a necessary phase in the constant flow of transformation. And long before your physical death, you experience many smaller deaths. The death of who you were at different ages, the death of relationships and roles and identities that once defined you. Each of these is a small composting, a small decomposition that feeds your continued growth and transformation. You are not the person you were 10 years ago. That person has decomposed, and who you are now grew from the nutrients released by that decomposition. You literally fed on your younger self, extracting what was valuable, releasing what was not, transforming into something new. As this year ends, you can think of it as falling into the compost heap of your life. All of its experiences, good and bad, successful and failed, joyful and painful, are now decomposing. You cannot hold on to 2024 in its original form any more than you can hold on to a banana peel and prevent it from rotting. The year is ending. Its specific form is dissolving. But it is not disappearing. It is becoming part of you, being broken down and integrated, feeding who you are becoming. The compost heap teaches patience. It teaches trust in natural processes. It teaches that decay is not waste but transformation, that endings feed beginnings, that death and life are not opposites but partners in the same dance. When you throw scraps on the compost heap, you are not throwing them away. You are putting them somewhere to be transformed into something more useful than they were. When you let go of what has ended in your life, you are not losing it into nothingness. You are allowing it to decompose into nutrients that will feed your future. Some religious and spiritual traditions understand this intuitively. The idea of death and rebirth, of eternal return, of cycles that never truly end. These appear in many forms across many cultures. Christianity speaks of the grain of wheat that must fall into the earth and die to produce a harvest. Buddhism speaks of impermanence and the constant cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Indigenous traditions often see death as feeding life, the prey giving itself to sustain the predator, the elder dying so resources can support the young. These are not just metaphors. They are observations of how reality actually works, how nature actually operates. You live in a compost-based universe. Nothing stays in its current form forever. Everything is constantly dying and being reborn in new configurations. And this constant transformation is not a bug but a feature, not a flaw but the very mechanism that makes continued existence possible. Without death and decay, without composting and decomposition, there would be only stagnation, only the slow cooling and running down of all processes until nothing could happen anymore. Life requires death. Growth requires decay. New forms require the dissolution of old forms. So tonight, as you rest in the darkness between years, you can make peace with what is composting. You can stop trying to preserve what is naturally decomposing. You can stop trying to keep fresh what is meant to transform. You can let the year fall into the compost heap. You can let the relationships and dreams and versions of yourself that ended this year decompose. Not with bitterness or resentment, but with the understanding that this is how things work. This is the natural and necessary process. And from this composting will come the nutrients that feed your next growth. The compost heap is not a graveyard. It is a transformation chamber, a place where form dissolves but essence remains, where death turns inside out and reveals itself as the other face of life. You are not less for what you have let go of. You are preparing to be more, to grow in ways that were not possible while you were still holding on to what needed to decompose. Trust the compost. Trust the decomposers. Trust that what falls apart is making space and providing nourishment for what will grow next. We arrive now at the end of our journey and the beginning of something new. You have spent these hours with me exploring how nature lets go, how trees shed leaves, how fires clear forests, how entropy ensures transformation, how bodies constantly release and renew, how death composts into life. And now we turn to what comes after letting go, the space for beginning again. But this is not the traditional New Year's message about resolutions and self-improvement and becoming a new you. This is something different, something gentler, something that honors what you have learned from nature's way of handling transitions. Because nature does not rush. Nature does not pressure. Nature does not set arbitrary deadlines or judge itself for not meeting expectations. Nature simply responds to conditions, grows when growth is possible, rests when rest is needed, and transforms according to its own inherent timeline. Think again of that forest after fire. The green shoots do not emerge on January 1st. They do not set resolutions to grow by a certain date or reach a certain height by a specific deadline. They germinate when conditions are right, when there is enough moisture, enough warmth, enough light. They grow at their own pace, responding to their own internal programming and the external environment, without rushing, without comparing themselves to other shoots, without self-judgment about whether they are growing fast enough or well enough. And yet they do grow. Inevitably, reliably, they grow. Not because they force themselves, not because they shame themselves into effort, not because they make promises about being different this year. They grow because growth is what living things do when conditions permit, when obstacles are removed, when they are given time and space and basic nourishment. Growth is not something you have to force. It is something you have to allow. This is the paradox of New Year's resolutions. They are often born from self-criticism, from judgment about what is wrong with you, from pressure to be different or better or more. They come from the part of you that looks at what was and sees only failure, only what should have been different. And while that energy can sometimes motivate change, it more often creates resistance, shame, and eventual abandonment of the resolution because it was never rooted in genuine readiness or organic desire for transformation. Nature does not work this way. A tree does not look at its bare branches in winter and say, "I should already have leaves, I'm behind, I'm failing." It simply waits for spring, trusts that when conditions are right, leaves will grow, and does not waste energy on self-recrimination about being currently leafless. The tree understands something profound. There is a season for everything, and forcing growth out of season is not strength but foolishness, not ambition but a fundamental misunderstanding of how life works. So as this new year begins, you can make a different kind of beginning. Not a forced transformation, not a pressure-filled promise, not a self-critical demand that you be someone other than who you are, but a gentle turning toward what wants to emerge naturally, a removing of obstacles to organic growth, a creation of conditions that allow change rather than forcing change to happen. Ask yourself, what wants to grow in me that I have been preventing? Not what I should be growing, not what others expect, not what looks impressive or productive, but what actually wants to emerge from within, like those seeds waiting after a fire for the right conditions. Maybe it is creativity that you have been suppressing. Maybe it is rest that you have been denying. Maybe it is honesty about who you are and what you actually need rather than what you think you should need. When you remove the obstacles, the old beliefs, the exhausting obligations, the relationships that drain rather than nourish, the versions of yourself you are done pretending to be, growth happens naturally. You do not need to add more effort, more discipline, more force. You need to make space, to clear ground, to provide light and water, and simply step back and allow. This is the wisdom of the forest floor after fire. The seeds were always there, waiting. They just needed the clearing, the opening, the right conditions. This is why all the work you have done tonight, all the understanding of how nature lets go, all the acceptance of entropy and decomposition and release, is actually preparation for growth, not separate from it. You have been clearing ground. You have been making space. You have been removing the dense underbrush of judgment and resistance and clinging that was preventing your own seeds from receiving the light they need. And now, in this quiet darkness between years, you can simply rest and trust. Trust that what needs to grow will grow when conditions are right. Trust that you do not need to force or push or shame yourself into change. Trust that your body already knows how to let go and regenerate. Trust that your psyche, like the forest, has its own intelligence, its own timing, its own capacity for renewal that does not require your anxious micromanagement. The new year is not a magical boundary that makes everything different. Time is continuous. January 1st is just another day, one rotation of Earth following countless others, with no special power beyond what humans have agreed to give it. But it can be a useful marker, a moment to pause and notice what season you are in, what is ready to be released, what might be ready to emerge. Not because the calendar says so, but because you have reached this point in your own cycle, your own journey, your own process of transformation. So if you choose to make any commitment as this year begins, make it a commitment to gentleness, to patience, to working with your nature rather than against it, to removing obstacles rather than forcing growth, to creating conditions for change rather than demanding change on a specific timeline, to trusting that you are not broken and do not need to be fixed, only perhaps freed from some of what has been preventing your natural unfolding. Remember the autumn leaves. Letting go is not failure but wisdom. Remember the forest fire. Destruction can clear space for new life. Remember entropy. Things fall apart not because you are failing, but because that is how time works, how transformation happens. Remember your body. You are already constantly letting go and renewing at every level. Remember the compost. What appears to be waste, what has ended, is actually becoming the nourishment for what comes next. And carry these understandings forward, not as pressure to apply them perfectly, not as new standards by which to judge yourself, but as gentle reminders that you are part of nature, subject to the same cycles, held by the same laws, capable of the same patience and trust and organic transformation. You do not need to be something other than a natural being in a natural process. You only need to stop resisting being exactly that. As you drift closer to sleep, as this meditation comes to its end and your consciousness begins to dissolve into dreams or darkness, know that you have done important work tonight. Not the work of fixing or changing or improving, but the work of understanding, of accepting, of making peace with how things actually are rather than how you wish they were. This understanding is the ground clearing. This acceptance is the space making. This peace is the condition from which genuine growth emerges. You do not need to wake up tomorrow as a different person. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to know exactly what will grow in the cleared space. The seeds know. Your body knows. Your deeper wisdom knows. And they will act in their own time, according to their own intelligence, without requiring your conscious management. Your job is simply to provide the conditions, the rest, the honesty, the letting go of what no longer serves, and then trust. Trust that life wants to live. Trust that growth wants to happen. Trust that you are held within systems and cycles that have been working for billions of years and do not need your worry or force or control to continue working. Trust that the forest grows back after fire, not because the trees try hard enough, but because growth is what living systems do when given the chance. Trust that you, too, will grow, will change, will transform, not because you force it, but because you are alive and transformation is what life does. Think again of that forest after fire. The green shoots do not emerge on January 1st. They do not set resolutions to grow by a certain date or reach a certain height by a specific deadline. They germinate when conditions are right, when there is enough moisture, enough warmth, enough light. They grow at their own pace, responding to their own internal programming and the external environment, without rushing, without comparing themselves to other shoots, without self-judgment about whether they are growing fast enough or well enough. And yet they do grow. Inevitably, reliably, they grow. Not because they force themselves, not because they shame themselves into effort, not because they make promises about being different this year. They grow because growth is what living things do when conditions permit, when obstacles are removed, when they are given time and space and basic nourishment. Growth is not something you have to force. It is something you have to allow. This is the paradox of New Year's resolutions. They are often born from self-criticism, from judgment about what is wrong with you, from pressure to be different or better or more. They come from the part of you that looks at what was and sees only failure, only what should have been different. And while that energy can sometimes motivate change, it more often creates resistance, shame, and eventual abandonment of the resolution because it was never rooted in genuine readiness or organic desire for transformation. Nature does not work this way. A tree does not look at its bare branches in winter and say, "I should already have leaves, I'm behind, I'm failing." It simply waits for spring, trusts that when conditions are right, leaves will grow, and does not waste energy on self-recrimination about being currently leafless. The tree understands something profound. There is a season for everything, and forcing growth out of season is not strength but foolishness, not ambition but a fundamental misunderstanding of how life works. So as this new year begins, you can make a different kind of beginning. Not a forced transformation, not a pressure-filled promise, not a self-critical demand that you be someone other than who you are, but a gentle turning toward what wants to emerge naturally, a removing of obstacles to organic growth, a creation of conditions that allow change rather than forcing change to happen. Ask yourself, what wants to grow in me that I have been preventing? Not what I should be growing, not what others expect, not what looks impressive or productive, but what actually wants to emerge from within, like those seeds waiting after a fire for the right conditions. Maybe it is creativity that you have been suppressing. Maybe it is rest that you have been denying. Maybe it is honesty about who you are and what you actually need rather than what you think you should need. When you remove the obstacles, the old beliefs, the exhausting obligations, the relationships that drain rather than nourish, the versions of yourself you are done pretending to be, growth happens naturally. You do not need to add more effort, more discipline, more force. You need to make space, to clear ground, to provide light and water and simply step back and allow. This is the wisdom of the forest floor after fire. The seeds were always there, waiting. They just needed the clearing, the opening, the right conditions. This is why all the work you have done tonight, all the understanding of how nature lets go, all the acceptance of entropy and decomposition and release, is actually preparation for growth, not separate from it. You have been clearing ground. You have been making space. You have been removing the dense underbrush of judgment and resistance and clinging that was preventing your own seeds from receiving the light they need. And now, in this quiet darkness between years, you can simply rest and trust. Trust that what needs to grow will grow when conditions are right. Trust that you do not need to force or push or shame yourself into change. Trust that your body already knows how to let go and regenerate. Trust that your psyche, like the forest, has its own intelligence, its own timing, its own capacity for renewal that does not require your anxious micromanagement. The new year is not a magical boundary that makes everything different. Time is continuous. January 1st is just another day, one rotation of Earth following countless others, with no special power beyond what humans have agreed to give it. But it can be a useful marker, a moment to pause and notice what season you are in, what is ready to be released, what might be ready to emerge. Not because the calendar says so, but because you have reached this point in your own cycle, your own journey, your own process of transformation. So if you choose to make any commitment as this year begins, make it a commitment to gentleness, to patience, to working with your nature rather than against it, to removing obstacles rather than forcing growth, to creating conditions for change rather than demanding change on a specific timeline, to trusting that you are not broken and do not need to be fixed, only perhaps freed from some of what has been preventing your natural unfolding. Remember the autumn leaves. Letting go is not failure but wisdom. Remember the forest fire. Destruction can clear space for new life. Remember entropy. Things fall apart not because you are failing but because that is how time works, how transformation happens. Remember your body. You are already constantly letting go and renewing at every level. Remember the compost. What appears to be waste, what has ended, is actually becoming the nourishment for what comes next. And carry these understandings forward, not as pressure to apply them perfectly, not as new standards by which to judge yourself, but as gentle reminders that you are part of nature, subject to the same cycles, held by the same laws, capable of the same patience and trust and organic transformation. You do not need to be something other than a natural being in a natural process. You only need to stop resisting being exactly that. As you drift closer to sleep, as this meditation comes to its end and your consciousness begins to dissolve into dreams or darkness, know that you have done important work tonight. Not the work of fixing or changing or improving, but the work of understanding, of accepting, of making peace with how things actually are rather than how you wish they were. This understanding is the ground clearing. This acceptance is the space making. This peace is the condition from which genuine growth emerges. You do not need to wake up tomorrow as a different person. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to know exactly what will grow in the cleared space. The seeds know. Your body knows. Your deeper wisdom knows. And they will act in their own time, according to their own intelligence, without requiring your conscious management. Your job is simply to provide the conditions, the rest, the honesty, the letting go of what no longer serves, and then trust. Trust that life wants to live. Trust that growth wants to happen. Trust that you are held within systems and cycles that have been working for billions of years and do not need your worry or force or control to continue working. Trust that the forest grows back after fire, not because the trees try hard enough, but because growth is what living systems do when given the chance. Trust that you, too, will grow, will change, will transform, not because you force it, but because you are alive and transformation is what life does. So rest now in this trust. Rest in the knowledge that letting go creates space for holding what is new. Rest in the understanding that endings are not failures but transitions. Rest in the wisdom of trees and forests and seasons and cells, all of which know how to release and renew without needing to read a single self-help book or make a single resolution. Rest in being a natural being, subject to natural laws, held by natural rhythms, capable of natural healing and growth. The new year will begin whether you are ready or not. The earth will continue turning. The seasons will continue cycling. And you will continue transforming, growing, letting go, and taking in, dying and being reborn in countless small ways. Because this is what you are designed to do, what you have always been doing, what you will continue doing as long as you live. You are not separate from nature's processes. You are an expression of them. And tonight, finally, you can rest in that belonging. And so we arrive at the end of this meditation and the beginning of your sleep, the end of this year and the beginning of the next, the end of holding on and the beginning of letting go. All of these thresholds are crossed in the same way, gently, gradually, without force, trusting in the natural process of transition. You have learned tonight that before anything new can grow, something old must fall away. Not through violence or shame, but through the patient wisdom of release. The trees have taught you. The fires have taught you. Entropy has taught you. Your own body has taught you. The compost heap has taught you. You know now that letting go is not weakness but wisdom, not failure but transformation, not the end of the story but the necessary middle chapter between what was and what will be. As you lie here now, body heavy, breath slow, mind quiet, you can feel yourself letting go in this very moment. Letting go of wakefulness, sinking towards sleep, letting go of the day, releasing it into the past, letting go of the need to understand or control or manage, simply releasing, softening, surrendering to the natural process that will carry you from this state to the next without your conscious participation. This is how all transitions happen, all transformations occur, not through dramatic effort but through gentle release, through allowing what wants to fall away to fall, through trusting that what comes next will come in its own time. The year is ending. Let it end. Let it fall into the compost heap of your experience where it will decompose and feed what grows next. Let it go with gratitude for what it gave you and with release for what it could not provide. And the new year, waiting just beyond this moment, does not require your anxiety or pressure or forced transformation. It only requires your presence, your willingness to respond to what arises, your trust in your own capacity to grow when conditions are right. You do not need to be different to be worthy of the new year. You only need to be present, to be honest, to be willing to let go of what no longer serves so that space can open for what wants to emerge. Let go now of any expectation about how sleep should come, how long it should take, what tomorrow should bring. Let go of judging this meditation, this experience, yourself. Let go of the need to remember everything, to implement everything, to be changed by everything. Simply rest in what is, in this moment, in this darkness, in this body breathing in this bed. The forest floor after fire does not worry about spring. It simply exists in winter, in the charred landscape, in the apparent devastation, trusting that when spring comes, it will respond. You can do the same. Exist in this moment, in whatever landscape you find yourself, trusting that when the time is right, you will respond, you will grow, you will transform, without needing to force or control or understand the entire process ahead of time. Before anything new can grow, something old must fall away. And tonight, in this liminal space between years, you have practiced the falling away. You have explored the science and wisdom of release. You have made peace with entropy and decay and decomposition. You have remembered that your body already knows how to let go. And now, finally, you can simply rest in what you have learned. Let your awareness of your body fade now. Let the boundary between yourself and the darkness blur. Let consciousness itself begin to dissolve, to compost, to transform into sleep. There is nothing more you need to do tonight. Nothing more you need to understand. Nothing more you need to accomplish. You have done the work of clearing, of understanding, of accepting. Now you can simply release into whatever comes next. The year turns. The forest sleeps under snow, waiting for spring. Your body breathes, releases, renews. And you, finally, can let go. Can rest in the compost of transformation. Can trust that what needs to grow will grow. Not today, perhaps. Not tomorrow. But in its own time. When conditions are right. When you are ready. Until then, rest. And until we meet again. I'll see you soon for another episode of relaxation. May your rest be deep. And your dreams be gentle.